Palmer's 18-game dry spell ended yesterday as he put behind him a worrying run stretching back to a 2-2 home draw against Bournemouth, and that was back in January 14th. And all the noise around him clearly didn't impact him. As he said after the game, quote, "No goals for months, I still felt normal. Obviously, bleep happens. Social media nowadays is full of idiots and trolls." Right, let's look back, and Chelsea taking a huge step towards the Champions League qualification. They've had 3 great results, with a man who lifted the FA Cup with the Blues 1997. It's a very good morning, a very good bank holiday morning to Scott Minto. Scott, good morning, how are you, mate?
Morning, Scott.
Morning, Ali. Morning, Andy. Really good, thank you.
Brilliant. I tell you, they played well, Chelsea. Good victory, deserved victory, needed. I was just saying to Andy, Scott, go back to the Fulham game, 2 late goals. That was a big, big win. The victory against Everton. They've terrific result yesterday, but they've still got some big games, mate. But yesterday was a real boost.
Yeah, listen, Ali, I think you're absolutely spot on. I think you look back at that Fulham game, if Chelsea are to finish in the top 5,
yeah,
that was a big, big moment. 1-0 down, going into the 83rd minute, and somehow not only didn't lose, but found a way to win.
Yeah.
And that was after that Legia game where, okay, they'd already pretty much got through, but they put in a really poor performance. I was there at that home game and lost to them 2-1 at home. But since then, yeah, the Everton game was probably a 2-0 more than a 1-0 game. And I just thought, obviously, what happened in midweek as well looks like they're pretty much in the final in Europe. But that was a big performance yesterday. And it wasn't, I know we will go big on Cole Palmer, and we absolutely should. But I just think the performance as a team, I thought defensively they looked solid.
Yeah.
But Robert Sanchez looked solid as well, and I've not been a massive fan of his. I thought Enzo Fernandez, if you look at that goal, if you take away his sort of head and you just see him from the back, and number 8 running late into the box, not being picked up, great first touch and side footing it into the goal. We've seen that before at Stamford Bridge. And the wide players, not only were they positive, we see a lot of wide players now coming inside and just passing it and pass. They were direct, they were positive, but they were also trying to track back and help out their defenders as well. It was a really good team performance. Obviously, the icing on the cake was Cole Palmer.
Yeah, Scotty, as a left back, obviously you'll have had eyes no doubt on Cucurella as well. Who's one of them players when I watch him, he sort of winds you up sometimes when you watch him a bit, because there's histrionics with him, and he can sort of get under your skin. I don't know, sometimes just watch him, but he's a very, very good, and he's a real competitor, isn't he?
Andy, do you know what? Spot on. I've sort of felt bad saying that before, that even though I love Chelsea and I want them to do well, he's almost one of those really annoying guys.
Yeah.
But do you know what? Something happens when he's in the side.
Yeah.
When things weren't going well. Yeah, when things weren't going well through that run, he was one of the very few players who was making something happen, either from left back or going into inverted midfield or almost playing like a flying winger. He scores goals as well, and he's only small, and sometimes with his head. Something happens when he's on the pitch, and he's one of those where if you're an opposition fan or player, he probably is an annoying little so-and-so, but you love him being on your side. And do you know what? I really respect him as well for how tough it was at the start of his Chelsea career.
Not easy for him.
And he turned it around. Yeah, he's turned it around both for the club and country.
Scott, here's one for you, mate. Looking at the last 3 games, brilliant, right? Newcastle away on Sunday, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm going to that one. Man United at home, and then Forest away. Do you think you're better? There's no doubt about it. They are extremely tough fixtures. But as a train of thought, and I was just thinking about it there, do you think you're actually better playing the teams that are in and around you for a Champions League spot because you can effectively put a nail in their coffin, or are you better playing teams with nothing to play for?
No, I think if you're fighting for 5th and it is tight, and by the way, listen, we just don't know what's going to happen now. I've made predictions recently, there's just not happened. But just last night after the game, I thought, let's have a look at the remaining games of all the teams. By the way, I've got Manchester City in 2nd, not Arsenal. But I've actually got 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, 1 point separating them come the end of the season.
Wow.
And 4th, 5th and 6th all on 68 points. So it's going to be that tight. So 100%, as much as you want the easier games to guarantee 3 points, we're at the stage now where you want to try and win, but you're obviously looking over your shoulder to see how the rivals are getting on. So I don't think it's a bad thing for Chelsea. The only thing I would say is, St James's Park, difficult place to go. Manchester United, hopefully they'll be in the final. They should be, and there's 3 points there. But Forest away, last game of the season.
It's a belter, isn't it? It really is. Scotty, what about West Ham? Just turn your attention to West Ham for a moment. Obviously, drawing with Spurs yesterday. Kind of limping along a little bit at the minute under Graham Potter. Can't quite really get any serious momentum going. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, I've been a Graham Potter fan in terms of I wanted him to be going in instead of Lopetegui, and then after Lopetegui as well. I have been disappointed with the sort of, there's been no sort of boost at all. One thing I think a sign of a good manager is you improve, even if you haven't got a great squad. And I think recruitment's going to be massive in the summer. You improve the players, and I don't think he's improved enough players. But I think, like most West Ham fans, I'm kind of just waiting to see what's going to happen in the summer now. The season's been over for some time, but there's no doubt about it. That was a great opportunity to play a Spurs team where, you know what it's like, Andy. You've played in that fixture before. It's a big one. It's just so disappointing to see them down there. And with the 3 bottom teams, being gone for so long, you don't want to be the worst of the rest. And West Ham certainly have an issue in terms of not making sure they are that one.
Scott, just a final thought, mate. I mean, what's going on with us Cardona? I mean, what is happening? We're going crazy, mate. We're going soft.
Do you know what? I listened to White and Jordan last week discussing it, and I mean, if Celtic and Rangers ever do that, I'd be just absolutely shocked. Do you know what? In terms of England, I just I don't really care. If they do it, they do it. If they don't, they don't. It's a mark of respect, okay? I personally wouldn't want to do it, but would it really make me say, right, I'm going to go and win the title now next season just because I'm doing this Guard of Honour? Not really. It's kind of, whatever in my point of view.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.